Hi, first-time sprinters. I'm Brian Gilbert from Australia, and I run a company called Reality Loops. We specialize in Drupal development. We've got a bunch of contributor modules. We've trained heaps of people through primarily the mentored first-time sprints, etc. But what I'm here to talk to you today about is the sprint tools, which is something that I've put together that uses now Docker. So you may have had some experience with virtual machine-based development on local machines. That requires a whole environment, whereas containers in Docker are isolated and a lot smaller, and it's a lot faster as well. So the toolkit that I've created is using DDEV, which is an awesome tool for helping speed spinning up Drupal sites using Docker. And the work that I've done to build this toolkit was sponsored by the Drupal team, so a big shout out and thank you to them for helping me find the time to get this done for you. So you should have by now, or in the process of downloading the packages, and I'm going to just walk through this on a Mac, but the process is very similar on Mac OS and Mac, Windows and Linux. So I'm going to extract the tar file, which would be used by Linux or Mac users, and the zip file for Windows users. And then I'm going to open a terminal, which I've already got open, and cd into that extracted directory. And in here there is I'll just show you visually here. So we have this install DDEV command for Windows and shell file for Mac and Linux. So I'm just going to go install the shell file because I'm on Mac OS. Let me just make this a bit bigger so it's easier to read. Okay, so it's going to give everything you need for the sprint, and it works on Mac OS recent versions and Linux and Windows 10 Pro. If you have Windows 10 Pro, you need to make sure that you have the virtualization extensions enabled in your BIOS, because Docker won't work unless you have that, and the mentors will be able to help you out with that. And then what it gives you is it'll install Docker if you don't have it, it'll install DDEV, and it'll copy everything to your home folder, sites/sprint, and every time you run the start sprint command, every time you start a project, it will make sure to git pull, make sure you have the latest version of Drupal core, and it has a preloaded Drupal 8, PHP MyAdmin, Cloud9 IDE, and the Lounge IRC client. So let's continue. So I already had Docker installed, so it's just going straight to installing the images. This process takes a while. I'll snip out a bit of the video. There we go. So that's loading the images after the extraction. Alright, so now it's extracted it into my sites directory. So I'll just show you, now we can delete this extracted version of the archive file if we want. You don't need that anymore. And if I go to my sites directory, see I've got a sprint directory here, and I'm going to in terminal. Okay, when you run the start sprint command on Windows, you need to run that command as administrator so that some of the symlinks get created properly. But now I'm going to run start sprint. It's going to extract the Drupal 8 archive into a new subfolder. And then so if we go back to here, we can see inside my sprint folder, I now have sprint 2018-0404 at 14:26 hours. And that has the components in it that we need, but all of this can just be done from terminal. So I'm going to cd into that directory and then run the start clean command, which tells you what it does. So it starts a clean instance of Drupal running in DDEV and imports the starter database. This will basically give you a totally clean install. You can run this after you've built it once, and it will reset it back to new, basically. So it's creating the containers for this project. And at the end, it will again spit out a list of all of the links to access the different components or services that are available. So even though it's spitted out the URLs here, it's still going to make sure Drupal core is up to date and then do a site install so you've got a database. So checking out the latest changes in core. What these warnings are, these might be bugs that maybe one of you can fix today if they're not already fixed. Okay, and now we have the output. So we can access the Drupal 8 website by copying this URL, and you can log in with the username and password admin. So I'm just going to put user at the end and show that. So admin. Yeah, we're logged in. We also have Cloud9 IDE, which allows you to edit all of your code files from the browser without having to install anything on your machine. And you can log in with username for the username and password for the password. And so we have our workspace here, which is Drupal 8 core. So we can go to index.php, double click, and we've got it here. In the terminal down the bottom, we can run all of the Git commands we need. We can create patch files, and if you need, for some reason, to run Composer, it's there as well. Show that. So it's pretty awesome. And then we have Mailhog. So if you're doing anything that is making Drupal send emails, you can open Mailhog, and it will capture any of those emails and stop them from being sent further than your machine. And then we have PHP myadmin. If you need to look at the database in DB, there's all your Drupal database tables. And then we have our IRC via the lounge. And all you need to do is put your username in here and then click connect. It's already pre-configured to log into Drupal and Drupal contribute. So the ID and the IRC program will only be working while you have it running. So if you run start clean, you'll have to re-log in from your browser again. But every time you have one of these up and running, you can access that. So, and that's it. So the whole purpose of this toolkit is so that it's really easy for starters to get up and running. And also the distribution method is to make sure that the Wi-Fi doesn't go down. So we're trying to, all of this is transferred to you in a way that doesn't need the external internet. So have a great sprint. Wish I could be there. Enjoy.